This question is from Prabhu. Namaskaram Sadhguru. Yesterday you spoke about deities as tools. In my experience, all the tools I use, they enhance the function of one of my sense organs. I can't perceive anything outside of the 5 sense organs. So how can I utilize a tool like a deity, which supposedly enhances my perception on a dimension that I cannot even perceive right now?
No, first enhance the existing perception. Wear spectacles, you'll see better, Yes, just a small lens, an invisible lens, a contact lens if you wear, suddenly the world becomes clear, That's all it takes. Now, you do not approach a deity in terms of, I want to access this, I want to access that. There are certain type of people who do that. That's not the way to go. The simple thing is, if the deity is properly consecrated, when I say properly, each one of them is consecrated normally for a specific purpose. Now we have a dhyana linga. It is for meditativeness. You don't cry there, go there and cry, dhyana linga, my financial situation not working out, please, that guy just sits like this. Because he doesn't know what is financial situation, he doesn't care. Because he doesn't eat, he doesn't do anything. What does financial situation mean to him? Then you go to Devi, There you can cry, because she needs these things, she understands that part. Like this, different things are made for different purposes. All that might have gotten garbled in the culture today, people think temple is a temple, it's not like that. Well, I've been trying to explain this about certain temples about which there are controversies. Some of the men here are protesting, why can't we be Devi, Vairaganas. Only why women are in charge of the temple, why is it only their privilege, gender discrimination? That's how it is, because she's consecrated that way. It needs women, she needs women around her. She needs that, and that's the way it is done. For a specific purpose. So, if it is well consecrated for a specific purpose, consecrations are of different kinds. There are some consecrations which just reverberate. They have no discrimination. Like, well, you have these lingas in the Surya Kund, they have no discrimination, they just reverberate. They've been set up for a masculine energy, they simply reverberate. Whoever comes, they don't know. Even if you put a buffalo into the pond, they won't know, they will do the same thing, because it's like light. Light is on, you can read, you can write, you can see, you can do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't care, it just puts out light, that's all. So, they are that type of consecration where there is no discrimination or any kind of discernment in that. But dhyana linga, Devi, these are made differently where there is a discernment. It's not that if I say this, this could be taken literally. If you enter the temple, the deity knows who you are. Who you are means not your name, your father's name, we don't care. Even I have not asked what's your father's name. When I wanted to marry my wife, I didn't ask her, what is your father's name? My father was shocked that you don't know her father's name and you're marrying this girl. I said, I'm just marrying the girl. So, there are certain people who wants to know father's name, how much wealth he has, what is his financial status and social status, because they're marrying something else. So, this aspect of the deity able to recognize you has been done in many ways. This is done in a very refined, sophisticated way so that it recognizes anybody based on how their energy situations are, where the status of life is right now, what level of evolution, how it is, in that sense. But there are other deities which is very common in southern India, which is probably these days lost in north, is we have Kula Devatas or Kula Daivams. That means a particular deity created for a particular Kula. Kula means a smaller segment of a caste. So here the genetic map of this Kula is kept and the deity is consecrated to serve only that type of genetics. This is why this fight in the villages, any inter-Kula marriage or inter-caste marriage means why they're struggling is, then you won't have a god of your own. You will become outcast. Well, that's taken on a social dimension and an ugly forms, that's a different matter. But essentially it is coming from this fundamental understanding because you have created an energy form which takes care of this particular genetic information. If somebody who doesn't belong to that comes, it won't respond. So these things were done in a very scientific way for different purposes. There are many fantastic processes even today, but mostly lost. So it is better to create universal things which are not based on genetics, but based on the evolution of one's energy. That is what we are doing. That is why these new temples, which will not recognize you by genetics, it will not recognize you by your parentage, but will recognize you for what you are right now. So, both these things were done right from ancient times, but most of the temples were done for genetic material because that is what people would fund. They want a specific temple in their town for their clan, so that their well-being, they created those things. A few were created for everybody's well-being, so they were always named differently to make you understand a little bit. Here, let us say there is one Mariamman temple, it will have a prefix name of a particular Kula and then that. But let's say some other temple like let's say Kashi Vishwanath, it's Vishwanath. That means he is for the entire world. He is not recognizing you by your genetics. He is recognizing you by who you are right now in terms of your energy, in terms of your evolution, where you are right now. In that context, Dhyanalinga will not recognize your genetics, he doesn't care whether you came from your mother's womb or dropped from heaven, we don't care. Because we don't think coming out of your mother's womb and dropping from heaven, one is superior to the other. It doesn't matter how you came, how are you right now, that's all that matters. So, this is a different dimension of consecration. So when we talk about deities and about you enhancing your perception, you don't go there to enhance your perception. There is a process, what to do. You just do that process, you may get enhanced. Oh, so it is iffy, is it? It is not iffy, it depends on where you are, accordingly it'll enhance you. If you get enhanced for what you are not ready, you will go crazy, believe me, you will lose your mind. If you saw the things that I saw when I was very young, I'm telling you, you would have lost your mind, many of you. Because I saw all kinds of things and sat there like this. And even people around me thought I have some psychiatric issue because I sat seeing all kinds of impossible things. So if you develop a perception to see something which your mental framework and your energy framework is not ready for, you will be shattered. So you never go seeking a particular level of perception. You just go do the process. The deity is been created in such a way, it is of a higher intelligence than you. You allow it to work with you. You just do your sadhana as it is prescribed. This is the excess, this is the code. Just make use of it, and how much excess you find, let's see. Depends on who you are. This is another concept which has made its rounds in the world, that something else should motivate you to do what you're doing. If what you're doing is significant enough, you don't need any other thing to motivate you. What you're doing is truly significant to life, why do you need another motivation to make that happen? If you really understand and experience that what you are doing is truly important for every life around you, you don't need a motivation, life just goes on. See, does your heartbeat need a motivation to keep it going? I'm asking you. All the life processes is not asking for any motivation, isn't it? Monsoon's coming, any motivation? No, it's coming year after year, because the natural process is going on. Simply like that, in you and me, life is on. What I'm telling you is, if you're doing something which is aligned with the fundamental life process of who you are, this can find a million expressions, it need not be just spiritual teaching. It can find a million expressions that what you're doing is aligned with your fundamental life process, then you will not need anything to motivate you. Simply, as a part of life, it will just happen. How much you do simply depends on how much time you invested on upgrading yourself. The problem with the world right now is, people are always trying to upgrade their activity. If you upgrade your activity without upgrading yourself, you are bound to break up somewhere. It's like you went on a Formula 1 track because you want to be on a fast track and you went with your Maruti 800. Suppose you hit the right kind of speed, all the four wheels will go in four different directions. It won't hold up. If you want to be on that kind of speed and that kind of track, you must prepare the machine. Upgradation of this one is important. If you upgrade yourself, activity will simply happen. Many people around me, many times think I'm superhuman because of that activity that I perform. This is not about being superhuman. If you explore the possibilities of being human, if you explore the possibilities of the immensity of being human, you will realize you don't have to be a superhuman, being human itself is super. So you will not need any external drive or some other inspiration, the very process of life will do it. Of all the things in the world, of all the things that a human being can do, why yoga? Someone sings a song, someone dances, someone writes a book. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that comes out of you is essentially an expression of who you are. Yoga, in that way, is diametrically opposite. It is not an expression, it is a method, it is a means, it is a technology through which you can change the very shape of who you really are, changing the very fundamentals of one's existence. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras start in a strange way, and now yoga with half a sentence. Such a great document on life starts with half a sentence. If you still believe with money everything will be okay, if you still believe with a new house or a car everything will be okay, if you still believe by getting married or unmarried everything will be okay, it is not yet time for yoga. You have seen all this and you know it does not really transform you. This realization that all this activity can give us opportunities to find different sort of expressions to who we are, but they are not tools for transformation. And now, yoga. Who you are right now is a certain form, physical, mental and energy form. If you want to transform, and now, yoga.
Next question is from Manisha. We have heard that in our culture there are many ways to boost immunity with the local resources available at home. Could you shed more light on building resistance using home remedies?
Well, building up immunity is not going to happen overnight, this we must know. Generally, I believe for a variety of reasons, looking at the lifestyles, looking at the food patterns, I think this must be checked, this must be medically checked. I think southern Indian people are having a better immune system than a whole lot of other people in the world, simply because of the food patterns and the practices and the weather and various other aspects. You must understand, in a tropical climate, there are more life forms than anywhere else, including microorganisms. The number and the variety of them is very, very high. So living in this land itself, the system becomes more resilient because we are exposed to these things all the time. That is one aspect. Another thing is food, another thing is lifestyles. All these aspects are there. Being farming communities largely, most of us, if not in this generation, in the previous generation, we've all come from farming communities. So people lived on the land, that itself gave them enormous strength. In most other parts of the world, over 80% of the population moved away from farming probably 100 years ago. In India, we've just moved away from the land only in the last 25–30 years ago. This benefit is still there with us. It will not stay with us if if everybody starts living in high-rise apartments without being in contact with the ground and start living like lab rats, protected from everything, well, our immunity also will go down. But I think we still have this advantage. But right now, what can I do to boost my immunity? As I said, it's not an overnight solution, but in a period of time, you can do this. Well, let me talk about very common things available. One thing is, I must say this, we are sacred ash people, we are always ash smeared one way or the other. There are different types of ashes, if you know how to use it. I can't go about giving you instructions of this over the on the web, but if you learn to use it properly, it helps. Neem is available almost right across the country except in the mountainous places. Daily consumption of neem leaves. Turmeric is anyway available. Now they are making what is called as nano-turmeric, where the absorption rate is way higher than the normal turmeric, which also greatly enhances your immune system. If you soak the gooseberry or the amla or the nallikai in honey overnight, along with some broken pepper, black pepper or green pepper. Green pepper I'm saying for those of you who are in other countries, green pepper does not mean chili. We mean to say raw pepper. The peppercorn, when it's raw, which you might not have seen in most parts of the world, here it's common for us, it's available. So, soak it in honey and every day about 3 spoons, 3 times a day. It works best, all these things work best when you're on an empty stomach, that's the first thing that you take. If you do these things, you can see a significant increase in your immune system. I would say in 4 to 8 weeks, one can see significant betterment of one's immune system. There are yogic practices which are hard to teach, but right now, just doing a chant and doing Isha Kriya, this will also enhance your immune system. Let this be very clear that this is not treatment for coronavirus, nor is it a prevention. I did my chant, so I go and do irresponsible things. It's not going to work like that. These are things you do over a period of time and strengthen your system, that the next virus that comes, you may be in a little better place to handle. That is if you're there. Yes, don't take this lightly. Do not take this lightly. Right now, it is a challenge for every one of us to stay alive through this period. That's what it means. Do not think it's some remote thing that happens to somebody else in China or Italy. Right now, if you stay alive through these 6 to 8 months, that means we have handled this responsibly. If every one of us stay alive, that means we are good. We have lived consciously and responsibly, that's what it means. This is what, unfortunately, the governments have to enforce by force, because a whole lot of people don't seem to realize that this is necessary. And they think this is some fiction. This is not fiction. This is an imminent danger that we need to handle properly.
One who is seeing this life as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, for him there is no failure. For one who is looking at the simple events of this life itself as the goal of life, for him there is failure and success. If you're just seeing this life as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, if you have a good deal, you use that for your well-being. If you have a bad deal, you use that for your well-being. The economy was on the boom, when every fool could be successful. No, it didn't take much. When the economy is on the boom, everybody gets carried, isn't it? Now there has been a meltdown. Now it takes something else to be successful. So, when the economy was on the boom, you could have brought a certain dispassion towards the money that's flowing in. Now the economy is down, the taps are all closed up. It's time to come, meditate, walk in the mountains. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time on your hands, isn't it? When there was money, it took away your time and life. Now the taps are closed, lots of time. This is the time. So it doesn't matter what the hell happens. It doesn't matter what the hell happens with your life. If you are seeing this life only as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, then whatever the situation, it is beautiful and very useful. Very, very useful. Once there was a farmer like you who was tired of various natural factors ruling the quality of his crop. So one day he called Shiva. It was a wild card entry. So he found excess And Shiva said, what? He said, I'm tired of all the natural nonsense happening. Obviously, you're not a farmer. I know from history that you were a hunter. You were not a farmer. You don't know what it means to farm. Why don't you leave the nature in my hands? I'm a farmer. I know when it should rain, I know when there should be sunlight, I know when there should be wind, I know everything. You don't know because you're just a hunter. And you're a crazy ascetic. You're definitely not a good farmer. The wrong times it's raining, at wrong times things are happening. You leave it to me. Shiva was one of those moods, he said, okay, nature is in your hands. Then the farmer planted his crop. Planted a maize crop. Rain. Poke the land and see, okay, it's soaked up to 6 inches, stop. Then plough it, plant it, wait for 2 days. Rain. Sunlight. Today I'm working in the field, cloud. So everything just happened the way he wanted. A beautiful maize crop came. He was overjoyed, it's good. Nature should be in farmer's hands. And then when the time to harvest came, he wanted to see, because none of the birds were coming, he was surprised. Because that also he said, no birds, no birds. Then he went and opened and saw nice big everything, but he opened and saw no grain inside. Then he thought, what the hell is this? What did I do wrong? Then he couldn't figure out, because rain, water, sunshine, everything he managed properly. Then again he went back to Shiva. But he was in this condition. He waited for many years for him to open his eyes. By the time these many years, the fields and the family, everything went to… But he wanted to know the answer. What went wrong? He's farmer first. Then when Shiva opened his eyes, he asked, I did everything right, but there is no grain. Did you sabotage my crop? Shiva said, I've been watching. You were in charge, so I didn't want to interfere. The rain was great, the sunshine was great, everything was fine, but you stopped all the winds. I used to always send fierce winds which would threaten your crop. But because the plants felt pushed and threatened, they put their roots deeper into the earth. So grain happened. Now you have great maize crop. No maize? So, various situations in your life, either you can use it to make yourself stronger and better, or you can sit and cry. This is the choice you have. Everything. It doesn't matter what happens. The most horrific event happened in your life, that also can be used for your growth and your well-being, if you have clearly seen the small events of your life. When I say small events, I mean your business, your marriage, your children, all those big things. All these things are just a stepping stone. This is not new to you, because in this culture, they put this into you for centuries, for millenniums. They told you, your life is about mukti. Your marriage, your business, your social life, these are all just means to get there. Either you go with it or you go without it. But whether you are a sannyasi or you're in the samsara, your only goal is mukti. Yes? The goal was not just for the sannyasi, for everybody it is mukti. If you can walk alone, you walk alone. You want party going with you, you walk with the party. That's your choice. You want to get there quick, you walk alone. You want to go there having picnic on the way slowly, you go with people. Choice is yours. But the important thing is, whatever the hell you're doing, there's only one goal. So if you have set this up, then all the events of life, everything is beneficial. The boom is beneficial, the meltdown is even more beneficial actually. It is also ecologically very good, the meltdown. No? So, the fear of failure. Failure is bad enough. Fear is adding spice to it, isn't it? Success happens to you not because you desire it, because you earn it. Everybody desires it. It comes only if you're capable of it.
Love has become a relevant thing in human life only because human emotion is a strong aspect of being human being. In human life, emotion is a very powerful thing. Even in this day and age, though people think they're very intellectual, even today, their emotions are the strongest aspect. Yes or no? It's the most intense aspect of their life. They claim they're intellectual, but their intellect is never so intense, but their emotions are intense. Maybe not love, maybe not compassion, but maybe anger, maybe irritation. These are all emotions. So emotion is a very important aspect of being human. Now, we're only talking about what type of emotion do you want to have? Now do you have a mind? Do you have a mind? Yes. Would you want it to be sharp or dull? Huh? Why? It works better that way, isn't it? Similarly, if you have emotions, do you want to have sweet emotions or bitter emotions? Sweet emotions, it works better that way, isn't it? So love means just that. You have transformed your emotions into sweetness. Now I want to be in love without emotion. That's a very European idea. Love is an emotion. It is the sweetness of your emotion which we are referring to as love. If the same emotion becomes bitter, we call it hate. Usually it is the people whom you love that you hate, isn't it? Some time ago you loved them, now you hate them. You don't hate that man who's just walking on the street, isn't it? Some love should have happened and now the coin fell another way and now it's become hate. Yes? So it's just the same coin. If it falls this way, it becomes love, if it falls that way, it becomes hatred. Don't think they're too far away. They're pretty close. One little thing goes wrong, love becomes hate, isn't it? So, how to be in love without emotion? Love is an emotion. Now the choice is only, do you want your emotions to be sweet, pleasant or unpleasant emotions? That's your choice. It's an obvious choice, isn't it? But most people are keeping their emotions bitter most of the time. Bitterness need not necessarily mean they're in active hatred. they're in irritation, they're in agitation, they're in some kind of… Fear is also an emotion, anxiety is an emotion. It is in some level of unpleasantness. If you make your emotions very pleasant, then life will be very pleasant. Even today, most people experience as a moment of love, as the most profound experience of their life. It is not. But they experience it that way because that is the most intense thing they have touched. But that is the deepest dimension of life they have touched, is a moment of love. So they raise it to heaven. People are transporting it to heaven. People are talking about divine love. You do not know whether God loves or not. Human beings are capable of love if they're willing. Dog is capable of love. When human beings fail you, you get yourself a dog. You get a dog, 12-year guaranteed love affair. Yes? Do not underestimate this. You get yourself a dog, every day you come home, what a welcome you get. Your wife, she's no good. One day she's one way, your children, they're not interested whether you come home or go. But your dog, every day, what an excited welcome he gives you. Nobody's capable of this, isn't it? Every day, without fail. He'll never show disinterest. It's such a boost for you. Dog is love, for sure. Maybe it's just a spelling mistake. Typos can happen. Now, if you made yourself in such a way, nobody around you can love you, then the only succor you have is somebody must love you long distance from there. Unfortunate way to live. God loves you, it's the most unfortunate way to live. That means you made yourself in such a way nobody can even look at you. If people around you cannot help loving you, that's a nice way to be, isn't it? You may not be great, maybe at least you're cute. Yes? So, in yoga, we don't look at anything as love, hate, happiness, misery, we don't look at it that way. We just look at it this way. Do you want to be pleasant or unpleasant? If you become pleasant in your body, we call it health. If you become very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If your mind becomes pleasant, we call it peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call it love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call it success. So, the other names that you give are just leading to confusion. Should I be loving? You don't have to be loving. Just be pleasant in your body, pleasant in your mind, pleasant in your emotions, pleasant in your energies. You will be a wonderful being. If your emotions are pleasant, if somebody comes here, you can share that pleasantness with them. If your emotions are unpleasant, for sure you share that with people, isn't it? Yes or no? So you cannot do something that you're not. If this is feeling pleasant now, it will naturally be pleasant to everything. If this is feeling unpleasant right now, it will be nasty to everything. So instead of seeing how to make this pleasant, you want to be pleasant to somebody. That is being loving. You don't have to be loving. If everything within you has become pleasant, whatever is needed in that moment, you will do. If you need to say pleasant things, you'll say that. If you need to say some hard things, you'll say that. But without any unpleasantness in you, that's important, isn't it? If you'll have to fight a war, you'll fight it without any unpleasantness in you, that's important. Then you will do everything only to the extent it's necessary. You will not overdo anything. If you say, I love somebody, you will exaggerate things about the people whom you love. You will exaggerate good things about them. If you say, I hate somebody, you will exaggerate bad things about them. You'll never see anything the way it is. People go blind with things that they love, isn't it? They have no sense, they lose all their sense. If they hate also, they'll lose sense. If you like, you will lose sense. If you dislike, you will lose sense. The doorway of life is in being equanimous, that you're able to see everything just the way it is. Now you are pleasant to somebody not because somebody is nice. You're pleasant to somebody because you are pleasant, that's all. It's more guaranteed. More guaranteed love affair, isn't it? You're being pleasant to somebody because you're pleasant. If I'm being pleasant to you because you are nice, tomorrow if you're not so nice, something else will happen, isn't it? If you mortgage your pleasantness to something outside of you being pleasant or unpleasant is only by chance. Keeping this one pleasant is your business. If this one is pleasant, with whatever it interacts, it will generate pleasantness. Now you have not managed to make this pleasant, you're trying to be pleasant to somebody. And that is subject to so many things. If you have to be pleasant, they have to be fixed the way you want them. And that's not possible. Nobody can be fixed the way you want them. You're not able to do that even with one person, isn't it? You cannot even fix one person the way you want them, forget about the whole world. The more you try this, the more bitterness and unpleasantness will happen. That is why in the so-called most intimate relationships, maximum amount of unpleasantness happens. So this is because you're trying to do something that you're not. You're trying to be loving when you're not pleasant. When you're feeling bitter, you try to be loving and see it'll destroy you, isn't it? Yes or no? You tried all these things, isn't it? It's destructive. When you're feeling pleasant, it is effortless. So, you just have to look at why is it you being pleasant or unpleasant is mortgaged to external situations. If everybody around me is unpleasant, how can I be pleasant? Especially if everybody around you is unpleasant, it's all the more important that you're pleasant, isn't it? No? If everybody around you is in a mess, is it not all the more important that you're pleasant? If everybody around you is unhealthy, is it not very important that at least you're healthy, even if you want to take care of them? Is there any logic to everybody is unhealthy, so let me also get sick? What is the logic behind this? So if people around you are unpleasant, it becomes even more important that you're pleasant.
If you made it this far, it's because something spoke to you on some level. Let us know where you're watching from, subscribe to the channel, check out the links in the description for more reflections. Because honestly, very few people make it to the end. Thanks, big hug, and see you in the next video.